Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's so good to see you. Today's video is sponsored by ExpressVPN, a virtual private network that makes your connection to the internet secure and private. So two reasons why I like using ExpressVPN are: number one, for security. I have the peace of mind that my passwords and information are secure. And the second reason is for privacy. The way a VPN or a virtual private network works is that it creates a tunnel between your device and the internet. It reroutes your connection through one of over 3,000 different servers, hiding my real IP address. I also like ExpressVPN's ease of use. I have it installed on multiple devices, and if for any reason I run into any hangups, there's 24/7 customer support. ExpressVPN is also great for content unblocking. It allows you to choose a specific server location, allowing you to circumnavigate geo restrictions. And recently I've been rewatching Anthony Bourdain's Parts Unknown. Find out how you can get 3 months of ExpressVPN free by clicking the link down below, or head over to expressvpn.com/emmymade. Big thanks to ExpressVPN for their continued support and for sponsoring this video. Now today, I'm going to be making yet another retro recipe. If you've missed my other retro recipe attempts, you should definitely check out the playlist, which I'll put above and down below, because there are some pretty good gems in there. A lot of them involve Jell-O. Now I have a few lovelies to thank for this video. Kyle left me a comment on my lobster salad Jell-O recipe saying that we are in melon season and not to forget the Frosty Melon, which I have to admit I did forget about. In that video I mentioned the Frosty Melon and that I need to do that when melons are in season, and look, we are in melon season, so I went to the store and got myself a couple of cantaloupe. I also have Lily and Danny to thank because they sent me this, which they found on their recent trip to Arizona at a thrift store. They thought of me and sent it to me. It happens to be the same exact copy as my Jell-O recipe, where I have the Frosty Melon bookmark. So Lily and Danny, thank you so much for thinking me on your trip and for bringing this back all the way from Arizona just for me. There's no publishing date on this Joys of Jell-O book, but it looks like it's from the 1960s. Now the one Lily and Danny sent me looks exactly the same, although theirs is not bound with this kind of spiral bind, but everything else is exactly the same. Now Lily and Danny bookmarked some of their favorites, including Vegetable Trio, Blue Cheese Deluxe Mold, of course Ring Around the Tuna. I have made some recipes out of this book, including the crown jewel dessert, and that will be included in the playlist down below. And this is called the Frosty Melon. Isn't it amazing? That is a whole cantaloupe filled with Jell-O, along with some fruit cocktail, and then the whole thing is slathered in a bit of cream cheese. Sounds not that bad, actually, if you think about it. It's just fruit and cream cheese, but the visual is just holy Jiminy Crickets. So let's go ahead and make it. And I'm going to use the quick set technique. Do you know this technique? When I learned it, I thought, this is genius. It speeds up the thickening process of the Jell-O, because what we're going to do is suspend fruit cocktail in our Jell-O, and you need the Jell-O to be partially set up in order for the fruit to be suspended in the Jell-O rather than sink to the bottom. So while we're waiting for the water to boil, let's prepare our cantaloupe. So we're just going to use the knife to remove the skin of the melon. So I'm going to set this aside for just a minute because we need to prepare the Jell-O. Empty our package of lime Jell-O. We're going to add 3/4 cup of boiling water. Look at that color. I'm going to just stir that until the gelatin and sugar are dissolved. A 1/2 cup of cold water. Now we're going to add ice until it's displaced all the way up to 1 1/4 cups. We're going to take our dissolved lime Jell-O, and now we're going to add our ice water. We're going to stir this to quickly cool it down. So now we're going to remove the ice because already it's starting to thicken up. Now we're going to place this in the refrigerator. While we do our next steps, we're going to continue removing the exterior of the melon. So there's that. Remove all of this. We could also probably use a vegetable peeler to remove any of those last bits of green. Stand it up, and now we're going to hollow it out. Remove all of the seeds. I mean, nothing like, you know, creating a melon cavity and filling it with Jell-O and some other fruit. My chickens love melon, and they particularly love the seeds. So that's all going to them. Isn't that a great sound? I believe a word to describe that would be pulpy. You thought you didn't like the word moist. What about pulpy? Oh, I love language. Okay, now we're gonna just dump that out. Melon has been eviscerated. So we're still waiting on our Jell-O, so let's go ahead and prepare the cream cheese frosting. We're going to take 2 packages of cream cheese. Hear that airplane? It's so loud. A couple tablespoons of milk. Just kind of thin this out. And now we're just gonna beat that up. No sugar, no nothing, just cream cheese. Here we go. Whoa. Wow. Probably could have used a bigger bowl. Okay, that's it. Here is our Jell-O, and as you can see, it has thickened. 1 cup of fruit cocktail. Fruit cocktail is a combination of different fruits, maraschino cherries, peaches, pears, and grapes. And we're gonna add 1 cup of that to this. So we're gonna just fold that in. We've got the eviscerated melon. Now we're going to fill it with new guts, Jell-O and fruit cocktail guts. Here we go. Doop. This seems so wrong, doesn't it? It does. And we can add a little bit more Jell-O, I think. We want this to be full. Now we're gonna take our cap and position it the way it was originally. Secure this with some toothpicks. Imagine finding this in your refrigerator. You wake up in the morning and you're looking for your milk, for your cereal, and then you find this alien thing sitting there. Wrap this in plastic wrap, place it in the refrigerator, and let it chill for several hours. I would say overnight, because we want the Jell-O to be nice and set up inside. I had the pleasure of doing this last night, so I would have one ready for you today. Here we are. So take this off. I'm gonna use some kitchen shears and cut the tops of these toothpicks off. Be sure to warn your guests of potential toothpicks. Cleave a little bit off here. Just a bit, just so it's nice and flat. There. Now, I'm going to use this little tiger, and I'm gonna mark this side so that I know that's the toothpick end, and when I cut it, I won't cut that side. Pieces of wax paper to keep my plate tidy while I frost it with our cream cheese. Pat the melon dry, because I think the cream cheese will adhere better if this is not a slippery surface. Now we're just going to give it a good coating. The frosty part of the Frosty Melon. Yes. Kudos to whomever invented this for being creative. And just smoothing it out, but not perfectly. This is not a mirror glazed cake by any means. And because almost every 50s and 60s retro recipe begs for it, let's add some curly parsley. Melon Epcot Center needs to be grounded. So we're gonna add some vegetation, you know? That's kind of how I see it. For stability, I'm gonna use a fork. Initial cut. That is amazing. This is exactly how I pictured it. This is great. Okay, one more slice. Wow. Alrighty, my beautiful lovelies, let's give the Frosty Melon a taste. Alrighty, I'm gonna just grab this big old piece right here. green and orange and white. Alrighty, here we go. Itadakimasu. The cream cheese definitely adds some tanginess to it. We didn't add any sugar to that. We have the sweet cantaloupe melon. And then we've got lime Jell-O with fruit cocktail. It's a strange combination. It's not terrible though. Let's have some of the fruit cocktail in the lime Jell-O. And that tastes like what I might have been served at daycare. Jell-O, fruit cocktail, absolutely. Never liked either one of them, but somehow it's reminiscent of that time. Isn't that amazing how food does that for you? The cream cheese though makes me instantly think bagel. I want a bagel because we didn't add any sweetener to this, so it just tastes like good old cream cheese. And I have that really strong association with cream cheese and a nice crispy, crunchy, chewy bagel. But instead I'm having a Frosty Melon. Alrighty, my beautiful lovelies, there you have it, the Frosty Melon. Thanks so much for tuning in, and big thanks to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. Find out how you can get 3 months of ExpressVPN free by clicking the link down below, or head to expressvpn.com/emmymade. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. I love hearing from you all. And like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo. Take care. Bye. Now I have 2 cantaloupes filled with Jell-O.